Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV World. I'm Aditi Bhardwaj and let's take a look at what's happening around the world. It's the last day of 2024. What's buzzing and what's making the headlines? Let's take a look. A South Korean court has issued an arrest warrant for impeached suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol over his short-lived bid to impose martial law on the country. In a stunning allegation, a China state-sponsored actor infiltrated the US Treasury Department workstations and got remote access of some of the workstations along with some unclassified documents earlier this month, according to multiple US media outlets. The German government has accused Elon Musk of trying to meddle in the country's election campaign with repeated endorsements of the far-right party. And in a big deal, Russia-Ukraine swap prisoners. In the deal that was brokered by the UAE, Russia and Ukraine swap at least 300 prisoners of war. And 5 people have been charged in connection with the death of former One Direction singer Liam Payne in Argentina. As countdown to New Year begins, the preparations for 2025 are underway across the world. People are ready to welcome 2025 on a high note. And big trouble for the president of South Korea. A South Korean court on Tuesday has approved an arrest warrant for President Yoon Suk-yeol, who has been impeached and suspended from power over his decision to impose martial law on December 3. These are the investigating authorities that have uncovered this. The Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials confirmed the Seoul Western District Court approved the warrant. This is the first ever arrest warrant issued for an incumbent president in South Korea. On Monday, South Korean investigators sought an arrest warrant for Mr. Yoon over this month's short-lived imposition of martial law. Yoon is facing a criminal investigation into possible insurrection charges. And my colleague Vishal is joining me for more on this. Vishal, tell us in detail about Mr. Yoon's short-lived imposition of martial law and the action that follows.
So another day of political crisis in South Korea. So this follows a series of developments ever since the martial law was imposed about 3 to 4 weeks ago, and that resulted in the impeachment of the then South Korean president. He remains the president, but he has been suspended. He doesn't have the powers that he used to enjoy. In fact, his successor, the acting president, was also impeached and removed. And the finance minister and the deputy prime minister has taken over as the president, as the acting president of South Korea. So you can see there has been a series of debacles as far as the South Korean politics is concerned. And also in the mix of all this, there was this deadliest South Korean aviation accident that killed about 180 people. So South Korea at the moment has been deep into political crisis and also some emotional tragedy as well, because a lot of people who were returning from holiday, they were killed. Almost all the passengers were killed on that South Korean flight. So series of debacles as far as South Korea is concerned.
Okay, Vishal, unfortunate news, and now action follows for Yoon Suk-yeol. Thank you so much for joining us with those updates. Now, shifting our focus to a stunning allegation that has come forward. Now, US officials have said that a Chinese state-sponsored hacker has broken into the US Treasury Department's system, accessing employee workstations and some unclassified documents. The breach occurred in early December and was made public in a letter penned by the Treasury Department to lawmakers, notifying them of the incident. The US agency categorized the breach as a major incident and said it had been working with the FBI and other agencies to investigate the impact. A spokesman for the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C., has reportedly said that the accusation is part of a smear attack and was made without any factual basis or proof from the U.S. Now, a federal appeals court on Monday upheld a $5 million verdict that Jean Carroll won against Donald Trump when a jury found the U.S. president-elect liable for sexually abusing and later defaming the former magazine columnist. The decision was issued by a 3-judge panel of the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Manhattan. The May 2023 verdict stemmed from an incident around 1996. And in the dressing room, it happened in Manhattan, where Carroll said Trump raped her. And an October 2022 Truth Social post where Trump denied Carroll's claim as a hoax. Though jurors in federal court in Manhattan did not find that Trump committed rape, they awarded former LA Magazine advice columnist $2.02 million for sexual assault and $2.98 million for defamation.
A jury awarded Jean Carroll a multi-million-dollar payment following a 9-day trial in New York in 2023, where Ms. Carroll said Donald Trump had raped her inside the Bergdorf Goodman department store, an allegation he has always denied. While the jury did not find Mr. Trump liable for rape, it did find him liable for sexual abuse and defamation. Mr. Trump labelled the verdict grossly excessive. In his appeal, the now president-elect cited what he viewed as critical errors by the judge in the case, including allowing the jury to hear testimony from other women who said they had been assaulted by Trump, as well as permitting the jury to hear the infamous Access Hollywood tape in which Donald Trump is heard discussing grabbing women by the genitals. In its ruling, the appeals court said Mr. Trump failed to demonstrate enough evidence to warrant a new trial, meaning the original judgment would stand. In a statement, a spokesperson for Donald Trump said the American people have re-elected President Trump with an overwhelming mandate, and they demand an immediate end to the political weaponization of our justice system and a swift dismissal of all the witch hunts. Donald Trump is also appealing a separate $83 million civil judgment concerning Jean Carroll, where he was found liable for defamation for statements made while he was president and which followed the $5 million verdict.
And now U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has endorsed Representative Mike Johnson to continue on the role of House Speaker, just days before lawmakers are set to decide on who will hold this position. The House of Representatives is scheduled to vote on a Speaker on Friday during the first day of the 119th congressional session. Johnson faces some opposition from within his own party after working with Democrats on a bipartisan funding plan earlier this month. Republicans have a slim majority in the House, giving Johnson little room for defectors if he is to remain in the role which he has held since October 2023. And now, in a series of unfolding stunning allegations, the German government has accused Tesla chief Elon Musk of trying to meddle in the country's election campaign with repeated endorsement of the far-right party. The government said, and I quote, "It is indeed the case that Elon Musk is trying to influence the federal election." This is the Germany government spokesperson after Musk's ex-post and an opinion piece published at the weekend backing the anti-Muslim, anti-migration alternative party. She said at a regular media briefing that Musk had the right to free speech, adding, and I quote, "After all, freedom of opinion also covers the greatest nonsense." Musk has often weighed in on German politics, even calling the chancellor a fool on his social media platform X last month. However, his more recent open calls for German voters to back the far-right party, which federal authorities classify as a suspected extremist party, have sparked outrage and accusations of troubling interference in Europe's top economy. And now, after the deadly crash, South Korea has launched an emergency safety inspection of the country's entire airline operations and a separate check of all Boeing 737-800s after 179 people died in a Jeju air crash involving the aircraft on Sunday. As shocked citizens began a second day of official mourning and flags flew at half-mast, the government said it would carry out the audit of all 101 of the aircrafts in domestic operation, with US investigators possibly including Boeing joining the inspection. Now, the man who was appointed South Korea's president 2 days before the disaster said an exhaustive inspection was essential to overhaul the aviation safety system and move toward a safer Republic of Korea. He was speaking as reports emerged that another passenger jet belonging to Jeju Air was forced to return to Gimpo Airport in Seoul shortly after taking off on Monday after an unspecified problem with its landing gear.
그리고 더불어서 아까 B737-800 시리즈가 지금 이제 우리나라에 101대가 이제 운영이 되고 있습니다. 그래서 일단 B737-800에 대해서는 좀 우선적으로 좀 특별 점검을 좀 실시하는 방안을 지금 검토를 하고 있다는 말씀을 드리겠습니다.
And amid the deadly war between Russia and Ukraine, both the countries have exchanged hundreds of prisoners of war in a deal brokered by the United Arab Emirates. The Russian Defense Ministry said it had swapped 150 Ukrainian soldiers held captive for an equal number of Russian troops. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said 189 Ukrainians had returned home. He added that those released included defenders of the other parts in Ukraine. The United States on Monday announced nearly $6 billion in additional military and budget assistance for Ukraine as President Joe Biden uses his final weeks in office to surge aid to Kyiv before President-elect Donald Trump takes power. Biden announced $2.5 billion in additional security assistance for Ukraine. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said the United States has made available $3.4 billion in additional budget aid to Ukraine, giving the war-torn country critical resources amid intensifying Russian attacks on Ukrainian civilians and infrastructure. Biden's announcement includes $1.25 billion in military aid drawn from U.S. stockpiles and $1.22 billion Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative package, the final USA package of Biden's time in office. Under USAI, military equipment is procured from the defense industry or partners rather than drawn from American stocks, meaning it can take months or years to arrive on the battlefield. And with that, we're slipping into a very short break. Bangladesh has been maintaining communication with both the Myanmar government as well as the rebel group Arakan Army, which has taken full control of the Myanmar side of the shared 271 kilometers border. This is what Home Affairs advisor said. He said, and I quote, "We have no problems in the border area. All security forces, including the border guard Bangladesh, are performing their duties with utmost caution. The focus is on ensuring that law and order remain stable at all times." He reported while visiting the border area in the area. The advisor also mentioned that Mohammed Yunus has been continuously monitoring the situation. My colleague Ghazali is also joining me for more on this. Ghazali, take us through the latest update. What is the situation on the border in Bangladesh?
See, this is another diplomatic or international challenge for Mr. Yunus's government, because at a time when it is having diplomatic tiff with India on its borders right now due to the persecution of minorities within Bangladesh's territory, this is yet another developing situation in Myanmar, another neighboring country. One, they already have the Rohingya refugee issue, Rohingyas getting persecuted, moving into Bangladesh. And then there is a rebel army called Aranka Army, which has taken control of the border area between Myanmar and Bangladesh, which is like more than 270 kilometers of a distance, of a length of the border, which is shared between Bangladesh and Myanmar. Now, all this while, the Bangladesh government has been dealing with the military junta there, the state actor to say, or the one which is ruling Myanmar right now. But now Bangladesh had, for all this while, Bangladesh had never been in communication with this non-state actor, the Aranka army, and now they have taken control of the situation. So it is the internal pressure is going on, Mr. Yunus, to also deal with this non-state actor before it starts taking maximum areas around the border, though it has already taken control of it, and it has now started impacting the fishing sector in Bangladesh, because mortar shells and firing is being reported from that particular region. And that is exactly what the Foreign Affairs Advisor yesterday said, that though situation is in control, but it is also very volatile right now, because on one side, the Rohingyas influx continues to be inside the Bangladesh. It continues to come into the Bangladesh. The refugees are coming in while the situation is still violent, and is still what needs to be done, or Bangladesh will have to initiate communication or say negotiation with that rebel army as well.
Right. Thank you so much, Mohammed Ghazali, for joining us with this update. The Global Bengal Hindu Coalition addressed a briefing in Delhi to highlight the plight of Hindus in Bangladesh. One of the speakers said that India should deploy peace mission and also appealed the UN to sanction Yoon's government for mistreatment of Hindus under this watch.
As atrocities in Bangladesh continue, which is appearing through media reports and activists, here at the Foreign Correspondent Club, I am joined here by Mr. Sushanto Dasgupta. He's a UK citizen, and they are part of a group which is highlighting the kind of situation there is with the minorities or the atrocities against minorities. What is the latest report coming in? Because the reports have also subdued in the last at least a few weeks. But do you think the attacks are still continuing against the minorities?
In our submission, you've seen, if you go through last 7 days, there are at least 5 killings in Bangladesh, and among them, 3 are Hindus. So one is called Shabayat in a Shoshan, you know the Shoshan. He was brutally killed. He was just a Shabayat in a Shoshan. He was killed last week. And day before yesterday, one lady, she was a UP commissioner. She was raped, gang raped, and she was then poisoned and she was killed. And I showed another incident. It was an incident from 5th of August. His house was burnt, and then he registered it as a case. Why he registered the case? That's the reason. He just brutally attacked to kill yesterday. So every day things are coming up. If you look around the social media, at least you would see everything, because nobody is publishing the news. And especially English newspaper does not publish, because if there is news in English, everybody will get it. So there are some Bengali newspaper, they are publishing it, but obviously there are incidents going on. And not only, if I summarize the things, it's not only the incident, this is actually the mental state. Because if you are Hindu, they will identify you as a Aumiligar and as an agent of Indian. So that's the problem. Like, I have 600,000 followers in my Facebook. So when I put a picture, I'm visiting India, they are just telling us, oh, you Indian agent, why? Yeah, you should go to Delhi, it's fine. So that's the problem. My name is the problem in Bangladesh, because it does not matter what actually going on. They are looking for the name. Okay, you Hindu, you are a Aumiligar, you are Indian agent. Kill him, mob justice.
So what do you expect the Indian government to do? Because the Indian government can't get in and get all the Hindus out because they're their citizens. But do you think India can do beyond any diplomatic pressure, beyond putting diplomatic pressure? What kind of options you suggest to the Indian government?
We already mentioned few options in our statement. I think what the best way to deal by the Indians, there are actually, peace mission. If they ask to United Nations Security Councils that in Bangladesh, the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Christians, the tribals are not in a good state, and India can easily request to UN Council to put peace mission in Bangladesh. I think that's the number one for us. Even you obviously know, Mamataji already told it, but it's not being raised properly, possibly.
Now, Argentina charges 5 people over death of former One Direction singer Liam Payne. The 31-year-old star died on 16th October after falling from the 3rd floor balcony of a hotel. Now, Payne's manager as well as the hotel's manager, Gilda Martin, and its receptionist, Esteban Grassi, as well as Payne's friend, Roger Knowles, have been charged with manslaughter, as per Argentina's prosecutor's office has informed. Remember, this death has sparked major uproar over what led to his death. Was he intoxicated, or what forced him to do it? Now, 17 men convicted in the Pelico mass rape trial have appealed the verdict, according to the police prosecutor's office in the French city of all 51 men on trial were found guilty of rape or sexual assault when the trial concluded earlier this month. Pellicot organized for more than 50 men to visit his house in the southern French village and rape his then wife, who he habitually drugged with a sedative over a period spanning nearly 10 years. And countdown to welcome 2025 rings in. Technicians prepared more than 10,000 fireworks on Monday ahead of the New Year's Eve fireworks display and celebrations in front of the London Eye on December 31st. 12,000 fireworks are being prepared on barges for the UK's official display in London. The barges will be sailed up to their position in front of the London Eye. Countries worldwide are preparing their fireworks display as revelers prepare to toast the new year at midnight. Remember, this is one of the most iconic scenes that several tourists flock to London to witness, and hence preparations are hitting the rock bottom now.